You're listening to Underground USA.
Welcome back to Underground USA. My name is Frank Salvato. Be sure to check out everything we do at undergroundusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter, which now comes directly to you anytime anything new is produced. Here's this morning's segment on the Captain's America Third Watch with Matt Bruce, is broadcast on the Salem and Genesis Communications networks to over 2 million people around the world each and every night.
Waiting patiently is Frank Salvato from the undergroundusa.com website.
Mr. Kent.
They won't be there long, trust me. There they go. It's colder than the Weldingers, you know what, and they don't want any part of it. But I want to thank you for being around. And by the way, it may be cold here, but it's below freezing where you're at.
Yeah, we're in the upper 20s, but, you know, for an old Chicago boy, I'm just putting on sunscreen and laying out in the sun.
Yeah, I know you are. And by the way, it was cold where I was at on Saturday. Now, a lot of people weren't properly dressed for it, and I dress in layers when it gets like that, so I was fairly comfortable. I wasn't warm, but I wasn't cold either. And, of course, I was sitting out there with a little bit of a wind blowing around, a little bit of a drizzle before it quit. And we were outdoors, but it was all fine. Well, Frank, we got a real mess brewing in the Ukraine. I don't quite understand why we're putting our necks out like this, but according to Congressman Mike McCall, Republican of Texas, he said that the United States has been projecting weakness since the troop withdrawal in Afghanistan, and is continuing even as Russia is tightening the noose around the Ukraine's neck. And Vladimir Putin sees an opportunity to do something that he may never see again in a weak president, Joe Biden. What say you?
I agree completely, 100%. As a matter of fact, when Putin decides to pull the trigger on Ukraine, no pun intended, start looking over at Taiwan.
Yeah.
Because I see no reason why the Chinese wouldn't immediately go into Taiwan.
Yeah.
So everybody over there should be a little worried about this too, because I just don't see the Biden administration doing a damn thing about it.
No.
They don't even saber rattle well.
No. And
we've got the aircraft carrier over there, grotesquely outnumbered by the Russian Navy, by the way.
140 ships they got.
I mean, I've got to be honest with you. If they were to take out a U.S. aircraft carrier, I think it's a coin flip on whether Biden would do anything but talk big anyway.
Yeah, I think you're right. What a shame. What a shame. And by the way,
that's what happens when your Secretary of Defense is more worried about white radicals in the ranks than preparing people for war.
Yeah, well, let's go to what Secretary of State Blinken had to say here. He said U.S. troops could be deployed in the Ukraine or somewhere in the region to help deter a Russian invasion. Well, they're talking about 5,000 troops. That's not going to deter 100,000 troops on the other side. It just isn't going to do it.
No, and somewhere in the region. As far as I'm concerned, they could put them in Africa. It wouldn't matter. Like I said, they don't even saber rattle well. We could have put sanctions on this thing. We could have affected the pipeline that they want to have going into Germany. And do you think with Europe now dependent on Russia for oil, that NATO's going to have a giant response to this?
That's why Germany's not touching it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Biden administration has set the Russians up for success in going into the Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
The Ukrainians should just be foaming at the mouth angry with what they're doing.
Now, there was a suggestion made in the last hour that perhaps we should take all 40,000 of our troops out of Germany since they don't want to seem to get involved in anything and move them all into the Ukrainian country, or the region, rather. So we'll talk about that when we come back. But anyway, it was mentioned, folks. It really was. It was mentioned. All right, we'll be coming right back with more of the Captain's America Third Watch. Don't go anywhere.
This is Kyle Warren, the professor of politics. There's more of the Captain's America Third Watch coming up right after this short break. Stay right there.
Let's celebrate. Come on now. handcrafted exotic blend teas at the lowest shipping cost anywhere. Hi, I'm CJ, owner of the Emerald Coast Tea Company. We ship our premium gourmet blends with Sindel, offering you the lowest shipping prices anywhere, while also being carbon neutral. Excellent tea at the right price. Check us out at www.emeraldcoastteacompany.com. Honey, this ain't your mama's tea.
News, insight, passion. AM 930, The Answer. Online at theanswersarasota.com. AM 930, The Answer.
This is Frank Salvato from Underground USA, and you're listening to the Captain's America Third Watch with Matt Bruce, heard by over 2 million people coast to coast and around the world every night. Captain, let's do it.
Okay, we are going to do it. And by the way, it's amazing to me how Moss Nissan gets customers from all over the place, including the Panhandle, South Georgia, all over Florida, Tampa Bay, up and down the East Coast, up and down the upper Midwest, and all the way out as far west as Phoenix, Arizona. And you heard me right. Check them out online, mossnissan.com, and don't forget to tell them the captain sent you. Okay, back to Frank Salvato, undergroundusa.com, and good morning, Frank, and thanks for staying warm.
Yeah, it's not a chore.
Yeah. Now, we've been talking about the Kremlin, and here's where you and I are going to have some fun. We know what happened in Afghanistan with, $85 billion worth of equipment left behind?
Mm-hmm.
We have just sent, over the weekend, $200 million worth of U.S. military aid to the Ukraine. Now, let me just throw this out there. Say Russia comes in and say they do take over the Ukraine. We just gave Russia $200 million of our equipment.
Yeah, you don't come late to the party and expect to get a front row seat for the festivities. So you're right. We're doing the same thing we did in Afghanistan, although this is a lot on a smaller scale, but just as irresponsible. We should have been making sure that they couldn't go in, or it would have exerted pain for them to go in. I don't see where anything that the United States is doing with the Ukraine situation exacting pain on Russia for what Russia's doing. We didn't put sanctions back on them. We green-lighted the Nord Stream 2. What price are they paying for going into Ukraine?
Nothing.
Yeah. So, wink and blink and a nod. He was a career diplomat. Well, boy, maybe he shouldn't be a career diplomat.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem like he's doing a damn thing. And the puppet masters who are making Biden dance over in the Oval Office,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost as if they want Ukraine to fall.
And that brings us over to China, who's watching all of this on their end. Now, they've been having a ball lately. They've been taunting the U.S. Navy, our ships, our aircraft. They just flew 4 of their combat aircraft into, not around, not beside, into Taiwanese airspace.
Yeah, they're looking at this whole thing, and this was before Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
They knew Biden was going to be weak in Alaska. When the Chinese sat down and talked to the United States in Alaska just after Biden was sworn into office, and they pretty much told him, we don't find you to be a threat anymore. We don't think that you're a world power anymore. We think that you're very weak, and we're going to do whatever we want.
Mm-hmm.
They have been navigating on that footing since that time,
Mm-hmm.
and they've called a spade a spade.
Right.
They see a weak U.S. president, and they're doing whatever the hell they want. And they're emboldened by the World Economic Forum, just tantamount to endorsing their economic system for the entire world in the Great Reset. So you see Putin go into Ukraine? I'm saying odds are pretty good that you see China go into Taiwan as well.
I agree.
Then you got mumbling Joe not knowing what to do because 2 things are happening at the same time, and it's oatmeal nap time.
That's okay. He'll send Kamala. All right, we do have a caller. We do have a caller.
Yeah. He's gonna want her to go over to China to figure it all out, and instead she'll go down to like Argentina.
All right, we've got a caller. Let's take the caller. Good morning. Is this Backgammon Bob?
Yes, sir, Captain.
What's up?
Anyway, I did a little research. Ukraine had 1,700 nuclear warheads when they had before the Soviet Union broke up. They also had rocket bases plus cruise missiles.
Yep.
What if they held back some of those nuclear weapons, and even if they didn't, Russia might think they could, and they decide to bluff and say, Russia, hey, if you attack us, we'll take out something. All right, that's it, Captain.
Well, first of all, if they start firing nuclear weapons over there, if Ukraine starts it because they get invaded by Russia and they go after a Russian city, let's say, do you think for 1 second that Russia would hold back?
No, Russia would annihilate them.
Of course they would. They would destroy Kiev.
Something else to keep in mind about that is the remnants of those nuclear missiles happen to be Russian made. So if they haven't been getting Russian parts, they're not up to speed.
Right.
For maintenance, and Russia, they want Ukraine back in their Soviet sphere because Putin is hell bent on reassembling the Soviet Union.
That's right.
That's his right to do that. So unless they've been trying to get spare parts under the radar, which probably wouldn't be happening given how the Ukrainian government's not necessarily exactly squeaky clean. I don't see their nuclear arsenal being in the best of shape to do any response.
No.
So yeah, I think that's a very, very distant possibility. You'll see the government of Ukraine resign, get bribed and resign before you see them launching nuclear missiles.
And that could happen. Now, this is really interesting. Beto O'Rourke has told Joe Biden he is not interested in any help from him during his campaign for Texas governor. Isn't that a slap in the face?
Well, Texas Democrats, now you know exactly how stupid Beto O'Rourke is as a politician. You never do that. He's not going to get Republicans to vote for him, and those are the only people who actually understand that Joe Biden's a moron. He just alienated 25%, if not 30% of his base by saying that in Austin, Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio. So, again, this guy is a clown that keeps on giving performances. He's lost everything that he's run for. It's like if you're a Democrat, in order to be able to run for a more important office, you need to lose the one before. He ran for senator, and he lost. He ran for president, and he lost. Now he's running for governor of Texas. Not a little position either.
No.
And he's going to get annihilated. Why do people like Beto O'Rourke, who just decide they're going to run, when they get the mandate for the people saying, we don't want you, why do they keep thinking that all they have to do is run for another office like it's their right?
I don't know.
Beto, go home. Go home. A three-time loser is like, ask Hillary Clinton if it works well to keep running.
And she may be back.
She's not going anywhere. Her own people are saying she's not going anywhere. The latest poll between her and Trump, and that's a fictitious race, has her down by points.
I know. I saw it.
All
right, you're going to stick around, so hold that thought. Folks, we'll be right back with more with Frank Salvato from the undergroundusa.com website. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back with more on the Captain's America Third Watch.
This is Kyle Warren, the Professor of Politics. There's more of the Captain's America Third Watch coming up right after this short break. Stay right there.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning and news breaks. When you need to know, the place to go from 2 to 6 a.m. is the Captain's America Third Watch with Captain Matt Bruce. I'll see you there.
AM 930, The Answer.
Okay, Frank Salvato, undergroundusa.com, is back with us. Hey, Frank.
Mr. Captain.
Over the weekend, we found out there's a big population of ships off the coast of Mexico. if you look